So this BMW has an engine noise. I bought it from Copart, and also the passenger side front and rear door has damage. The engine noise, basically a road knock as far as I'm concerned. I removed the oil filter housing and I checked the oil filter, and it has metal shavings in it. So I can confirm there is some sort of problem with the bearings. My next step gonna be removing the engine and inspect for damage and see how it goes. My plan is to repair the engine. I'm not planning to buy a second-hand engine. We will see once I remove the crankshaft. So the next step, engine out and see what damage I can find. So as you can see, the engine is out. This is the first time I actually remove a BMW engine this way. This is an N57 engine, diesel. As I mentioned, it has a road knock. So the next step I'm gonna do is separate the transmission, separate all the subframe components, the brakes and the wiring loom. Basically, I'm just gonna lift the engine up. After that, I'm gonna put back everything and then push the car out. I've got the engine off from the subframe. I separated the transmission. So the next step gonna be, I'm gonna remove any wiring loom, intake manifold, injectors, the DPF. Basically, I'm gonna remove everything from the engine block. I'm gonna try to put on an engine stand and inspect for damage. I managed to fit the engine on the engine stand, and I started to disassemble and inspect for damage. And what I found is a very interesting case for how a bearing can fail. I started to remove the caps for the con rods, and all of them looked pretty good condition, almost new. But as I was looking closer with the torch and I started to clean off the old oil, I started to see a sparkling like a copper color. So I removed the main bearing cap, and this is the first one. Look what I found. So basically the bearing is started to move out, and that's why there was lots of oil on the front of the engine. So if I shine the light, you can see the bearing is not in place. So I'm not 100% sure if it can be saved at all, or I will need to get another block or take it to the machine shop. I'm gonna remove the, how is it called?
Crank seal.
Crank seal, front main seal, and that's it. I've got fully disassembled the engine. I inspected for parts and gaskets, what I need to order, what I need to replace. And there is an interesting thing I noticed. In the intake manifold, it should have flaps. It's called swerve flaps, if I'm correct. So it's been deleted. But as far as I'm aware, you can buy a kit for it, a delete kit. As someone who did the job, they just glued this back with silicone. I'm pretty sure it's mapped out. I'm gonna reuse this intake manifold, put in the ultrasonic cleaner and make sure it's gonna be nice and clean when I put it back. One thing I'm gonna consider to do is a solution for the EGR. I've seen online there is kits for it, blanking plate and a few other bits and bobs. What else? I took the crankshaft to the machine shop, and they told me, they measured it and they said it's still so they just gonna polish it. I'm gonna order a set of new bearings and I'm gonna put it back together. There is no damage. I didn't find any damage around here where the bearings are sitting, but before I put it fully back together, I'm gonna use plastic gauge to make sure it's all correct. The oil filter housing, it was leaking, so I'm just gonna change the gasket. This whole thing comes apart. There is a gasket set, so I'm just gonna change it. That's where it sits. What else? Timing chain is gonna be replaced. The turbo has no play. This one has 2 turbos and it has no play either direction. I'm not 100% sure, but I think I'm gonna remove this pipe and check, because it can be faulty here. This is the first turbo, the small one, and the big one is here. The injector cylinder 1 was blowing out, it was stuck in. Valve cover gasket gonna be replaced. I'm gonna make a list what I need to order and how much it's gonna cost me. But the cylinder head is not gonna come off at this point. I decided the previous car, the Z4E89, which I repaired, it had a rod knock, so I changed the connecting rod. I had to take the cylinder head off. With this one, it's a little bit different. So I'm gonna make a list. I'm gonna decide what I'm gonna do, how I'm gonna go forward, order the parts. Until I'm waiting for parts, I decided I'm gonna start to clean the parts, what I'm gonna fit back. Obviously, this is the intake manifold, and someone previously deleted the swerve flaps. But here they used kind of silicone. Now it's coming out. So this is not the best way to do the swerve flap delete. So I ordered a kit for it, which is you can buy from different places. I've seen a few. Apparently Dark Side has a kit, but I did some research, and the best one is basically a bung which goes into it. I will show you later. So everything is disassembled. Yeah, as you can see, it's full of carbon. So what I'm gonna do next, everything is removed, and this manifold gonna go into the ultrasonic cleaner, and I will show you the results. So I've got the new bearings fitted. I choose the Schmidt brand. It took 4 weeks to arrive, and I'm ready to feed the crankshaft. And then obviously all the surfaces has to be cleaned. I know I said I'm not gonna bother to check the clearance between the bearings and the camshaft, sorry, the crankshaft, but I decided I'm gonna do it because I have quite a lot of time. I'm not in a rush, why not? So the clearance is the best one is 1.5 mil and the worst one is 2.5 mil. So where I had the damage is 2.5 mil, the rest is 1.5, and in the middle where I also had a worn bearing, that's the best clearance, is 1.5. It's all in spec except this one. This one you can see probably it's smaller, but I'm gonna put it together, and then once it's all back together I'm gonna monitor the oil pressure and see how it goes. If the oil pressure is not gonna be good, either way I'm gonna have to get a new block, and it's gonna come with a crankshaft as well. So that's the way forward. It's gonna get a new timing chain, oil pump, and a few other bits and bobs. If I'm not gonna be happy with the results, I'm gonna get probably a new engine, and I'm gonna use all the stuff what I bought new, including the oil pump, the chain, and all those things. So I just wanted to make sure the bearings I ordered is good. So if I put it back together, I'm not gonna obviously cook the engine, or it's not gonna seize straight away. I'm happy with the results. However, obviously I knew it's not gonna be perfect, so I was kind of aware that could happen. But I'm gonna put it back together. Obviously it's my car, my engine, and it's my time wasted if it's not good. It's a learning curve. I need to learn anyway. So let's see how it goes. Pretty much the new bolts are here, all the gaskets, the chain, the oil pump, so I'm pretty much ready to put it back together. I just need to clean everything, the valve cover. I've got a new gasket as well. This is the oil cooler. It was leaking oil, so I've got a set to replace all the gaskets, so I don't want to have any oil leak. I've got the EGR, sorry, not the EGR, the intake manifold cleaned. It's pretty much brand new. The flaps are missing, probably I've shown in the video. Yeah, it's nice and clean. I've got the gaskets, obviously. Yeah, so I'm just gonna get ready to put everything back together. There's the new oil pump. Few bits and bobs. So the next step is obviously fit the crankshaft, timing chain, all the bottom parts, and then I'm gonna probably put the engine on chain on the, yeah, once it's all back together. I don't know how I'm gonna put the engine back, but I've got an idea how it's gonna be quicker than I did it before, how I removed it. All the bolts are torqued. I replaced the bolts which holding the crankshaft, and I called the machine shop, and they have quite a lot of experience in terms of clearances and bearing wear and plastic gauge clearances. So I called them and I said the scenario, so I told them what's the clearance here and there, and they said it should be perfectly good. So I'm pretty happy to put it back together, and then once it's back together I'm gonna hook up the oil pressure gauge and I will show the results. But now I'm gonna crack on with the job. I have to torque down the conrod bolts, obviously these ones, new one already, and then the oil pump, clean everything, then the chain goes on, and the rest is coming after. As you can see, I removed the engine from the engine stand and it's on the engine crane. I'm using just simple 2 chains and the points, the hanging points, I don't know how it's called. So I've got the oil pump on and the timing chain. This is the timing chain tool I'm using. It's a cheap one from eBay, but it works perfectly. The only issue is this bit. I had to do some modification, but that's not important. The important thing is I've got the new chain set on, including all the sprockets, all the guides, tensioner, new bolts, this oil nozzle, what else? So basically cylinder number 1 has to be in top dead center, and then you can put on this tool and it locks the 2 camshaft in place. And if you remove this sprocket, there is a sign as well, 2 marks. I'm not sure if you can see, but anyway, if you remove the sprocket you will see what I mean. I'm using Ibis genuine timing chain kit. So the next step gonna be pretty much clean everything and start to assemble back together. I also have to clean the intake ports. As you can see, it's pretty bad. I've got a new gasket for the oil cooler, oil filter housing. Everything has to be nice and clean when I put it back together. I've got something to do here. I've got a new pipe. I also have to do a solution for the EGR. I checked the turbos previously, they're good. The water pump gonna stay. All the tensioners and the rollers are good. So pretty much I'm gonna assemble everything back together, clean everything, and make sure there is not gonna be any leak. So new gaskets going everywhere. That's how it looks like. I also fitted a new oil pump, genuine oil pump. Yeah, that's it pretty much. As you can see guys, the valve cover is on, all the injectors are in. I haven't torqued them yet. New copper washers fitted. This is the downpipe. I just cleaned the injector port, so the intake manifold is ready to go back on. Also all the gaskets changed. Slowly but surely I'm gonna put it back together. I want to make sure there is not gonna be any leak. Obviously I still have to change the main seal, and the wiring loom, vacuum line is gonna be the last. I also have cleaned the intake. It's not perfect, but I'm pretty happy with the results. So I would say one more day and the engine is gonna be ready to fit it back into the car. So this is the next morning. I finished with the engine. I managed to fit the wiring loom, all the vacuum lines, and we pushed the car in. I must admit I had some difficulties to fit everything back together. This is my first N57. I took pictures how it was, but I still struggled kind of to fit it back, but I did my best. Luckily David has a car exactly as this one, so the next is gonna be to fit the engine, and I will try to do from the top. Obviously I removed the whole subframe and the gearbox and everything together, but I think that's gonna be quicker and easier to do it this way. Okay, so I have the engine back. I fitted everything back. There was some hiccup. I couldn't start the engine, and then I noticed the big fuel leak. But then as soon as I tightened up one of the nut on the fuel line, the engine started up. So let's hear how it sounds. Tomorrow I'm gonna fill up the coolant because I run out of coolant, and take it for a test drive, connect everything back together, and make sure the car is gonna be ready for an MOT. So pretty much the last thing left to do before the test drive, and this is gonna be the software. So we're gonna check what software currently on the ECU. Very important, the battery maintainer has to be on, and we're using the Alien Tech, and my dear friend David helping me to do the software. I'm not very good to do these things, he's the wizard. So once it's all done, obviously I did some modification on the DPF, on the EGR, and on the swerve flaps here. So it's all have to be taken care of in terms of the ECU side of things. So the next step gonna be obviously do that and then fit the exhaust back on. I already checked, there is no leak, no oil leak, no fuel leak, no coolant leak, so I'm very happy with this. I will need a tire as well, because there is some problem with the rear tires. As you can see, it's dead. It will need a good clean, and on Tuesday it's going on MOT. So that's where we are at the moment.